All right, so 2002's The Santa Claus 2 is the sequel to the 1994 film, which is crazy to see. There's a whole 8 to 9 year gap between the first and second film, but that's not the most unusual thing to happen in the world of movies. Take Avatar, for example. But yeah, this stars Tim Allen, of course, as Scott Calvin slash Santa Claus. Also plays Toy Santa in the movie, which I'll get to in a bit. But we also have Elizabeth Mitchell introduced as Carol. We have David Krumholtz coming back as Bernard. Eric Lloyd coming back as Scott's son Charlie. We have Spencer Breslin being introduced to the cast as Curtis. Judge Reinhold comes back as Neil Miller. Liliana Mummy gets introduced as Lucy Miller, the daughter to Neil and Laura. Laura being played by Wendy Crewson from the first film. And then also, I'll get to these other actors in a second, but we have some actors playing different icons from different holidays. So talk about that in a second, how I feel about it. But yeah, basically in this sequel, we have this whole plot that Santa needs to get married in order to stay Santa. And while he is off in the normal world trying to find a wife, they make this toy Santa, which is basically like a toy AI version of him. And he takes over. He becomes a tyrant, of course, and has this whole evil plot. And I got to be honest, even as a kid, I didn't really love this whole Toy Santa plot. Rewatching it now, I don't like this Toy Santa plot. It honestly feels like they just needed something for suspense, as well as just kind of shoehorning in something in there to fill up runtime. And yeah, I just never really cared for that aspect. The aspect I love about this movie, the one that makes it almost a little bit better than the original, in my opinion, is the part of him trying to find a wife with Elizabeth Mitchell's Carol. She starts off as the principal of the school that Charlie is going to. Charlie ends up on the naughty list and has it out for this principal in particular. So yeah, there's a big what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of tension between those two characters, and then over time, Scott starts to fall for Carol. Carol starts to fall for Scott. It's really sweet, just like seeing them kind of I don't know, fall in love with each other. It's cheesy shit. It's Disney shit. Well, I guess it's not exclusive to Disney, but it's a Disney movie, so it has that Disney cheesiness to it. But I always appreciated that, especially in this film, because it feels real, and there's aspects of it that just like really tug at your heartstrings. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried multiple times watching this movie. I'm such a baby when it comes to Christmas movies, and especially, I'm not gonna lie, I watched, whoa, is that fly on my camera? But I cried watching Elf one year. So yeah, that just goes to show how emotional I can get over literally nothing. The thing in Elf I got emotional over was them singing and like trying to bring back the Christmas spirit. But yeah, with this movie, it's the aspects of, because if you haven't seen the film, when Carol and Scott are kind of on a date, they're going to this school Christmas party. Everybody's depressed, and he brings out a huge thing of toys and starts giving them out to people, making everybody happy. And the ride there, they were on a horse-drawn sleigh, and it started snowing, and they had hot chocolate, and it was just really sweet. And it's stuff like that about these types of movies, especially Christmas movies, that just make me feel happy and warm. And I don't know, this one just has a really, really nice plot to it, at least when it comes to that. That is the only thing I really care about. Also, there's a line in here that Charlie gives where he basically says, my dad is he's talking about like other people's dads, saying like, oh, they're doctors, they're, sorry, the fly is still on my freaking phone. Get off. But yeah, he's saying how my dad's a doctor, or yeah, kids are saying, oh, my dad's a doctor, my dad's, the president. He didn't say that, but, and my dad's the best thing of all, and I can't tell anybody about it. And with Eric Lloyd's acting in that moment where he's just like crying and shit like that, oh my God, it got me. It got me. That got me good. And then the moment in the end where they tell Lucy, "Oh, look at Santa," like that got me too. I mean, there's so many moments in this movie that get me. But the thing that kind of maybe not confuses me, but it's maybe not even a plot hole, but it's just a writing thing where the fact that Carol, and this is only for the people that have seen it, so sorry if I'm spoiling it, but when Carol's just like in the North Pole and she's down, and she's just like, "Oh my God, Tooth Fairy gave me a ride here," which, by the way, again, I know I'll get to that in a sec, but she's just like so cool with the fact. And then, Scott's about to leave because it's Christmas Eve and he's delivering presents. She's just like, "Huh, be back later." I'm just like, dude, she got cool with this so freaking quick. I mean, I know this is a movie about like magic and shit like that, but still, like that's the most unrealistic thing is just how cool she was with everything when she found out. Maybe not at first, but like once things got revealed, she was like, "Oh my God!" Kind of how Wendy Crurson's character was in the first movie, where Scott didn't even like do anything magical to like make her think that he was magic. She's just like, "Oh my God, it's you!" I'm just like, okay, all right. I mean, I guess the thing that confuses me in these types of movies that involve Santa Claus is the whole fact that adults don't believe in Santa Claus. And who fucking brings the gifts? You know, you know what I'm saying? And I know this is a review for Disney Channel Christmas movie, or not a maybe not a Disney Channel, but a Disney Christmas movie. But yeah, I'm gonna swear in my video because I don't care. Um, Plus, most kids probably aren't. I don't know. Do they know about this movie? I would hope so, but I don't know. I will say the first one is always going to be and remain my favorite. The whole toy Santa aspect of this movie probably knocks it down quite a bit because of that. I just don't like it. Um, so I think the first one stays on top, but this one is a very close second. It makes me really curious on how I'm gonna like the first, or not the first, but the third, because I really haven't watched that one in probably years. I feel like I maybe rewatched it a few years ago, but I don't remember a whole lot. I mean, it's one of those movies that's ingrained in my memory from my childhood. So there's a decent amount I remember, but I just don't remember if it was good, like good for me now, like with my objective brain, would I still like it? Or was it good for, like, I don't know, 9-year-old me? You know what I mean? So I'm really curious with that one. It does have Martin Short in there as Jack Frost, but yeah, let me actually get to those other characters. We have Art LaFleur, which is an actor I feel like I've seen in a lot of stuff. His face even looked familiar, but I just can't quite put a put my finger on it. Um, I could look it up, but not at the moment. But he plays the Tooth Fairy, and yeah, he does a pretty good job there. He's pretty funny. I like him. He out of all of the mythical beings, I guess you could say, the holiday beings or whatever. He gets the most to do out of all of them, and I don't mind that at all. I think Art LaFleur does a really good job in this role. He's really funny. Aisha Tyler plays Mother Nature, which I think would be the second person that plays like the biggest role, but all of these people don't really get a whole lot to do. I feel like they get a little bit more to do in the third one from what I remember. All these characters do return, so that's cool. Um, but yeah, let me see here. We have Kevin Pollock as Cupid. One of those characters that's in there literally just for a second because I'm sure the VFX budget on that was very low and they could only do it for a bit. But yeah, Cupid was really tiny. We have Jay Thomas as Easter Bunny, another character that was only there for a second. Michael Dorn as Sandman, another character that was only there for a second. And then there was Father Time. And let me look at my notes here because the actor was actually in the first movie, but as a different character. It was, let me see here. Peter Boyle as Mr. Whittle in the first movie plays Father Time in this movie. And I don't know what was up there, but hey, he almost, you almost don't recognize him, so I think it works. But also, it's one of those things where I'm like, is he technically the same character? Like, what are we setting up here? It does make me curious, but probably probably just recasted him for a different role. I don't know, maybe, or maybe there's something more to it. If I ever talk to the writers or directors or anybody who worked on the films, I'd love to ask them that. But yeah. Let me see what else I have to say about this movie. I don't think I have anything else, really. You can immediately tell just by starting the movie that this film, as opposed to the 1994 film, does have a bigger budget. Much bigger budget, in fact. I would say the world building is even bigger. Um, there's a whole opening sequence with a plane, which obviously doesn't look fantastic, but by 2002 standards, I'm sure that shit blew people's minds, and I'm sure it blew my mind at the time, too. And I'm sure it looked very real. Um, but yeah, I mean, the effects look better in this movie, and especially the practical effects and also the set design for the North Pole in particular. I think looks really good. I've always loved the design of Santa's workshop in these movies. It's just like so elaborate and so colorful, and just, there's so much going on and so much put into it. So, um, yeah, it's one of those sets that I'm sure isn't around anymore, but I'd love to visit. Let me see here. I already talked about the plot, how he has to wife up. Let me see. Oh yeah, Curtis, I already talked about, is introduced. Excuse me. He's the one that basically creates the Toy Santa, and he has a whole line in this movie where he's like, "The desantification process has begun," and that's basically his most iconic line in this movie. He's kind of a wacky character, but hey, he's kind of fun. Also, his sister Abigail Breslin, I'm pretty sure they're related. Shows up in the next one. Not really sure which role, if it's a big one or not, but we shall see. Let me see here. Yeah, I think I pardon me, I usually don't like to have any dead air. Yeah, I think that's everything I have in terms of notes. But yeah, surprisingly, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, because yes, it has been a little while since I watched this movie, and yeah, I mean the whole toy Santa aspect. I remembered not really liking that aspect of it, and that's why I was kind of reluctant. I can't talk. Reluctant to watch this one, is because I was just like, oh, I hate that aspect. But then I kind of remembered as I started watching the whole, him with what's the actress's name again? Elizabeth Mitchell. Um, her character in here, and just the just seeing her with Scott and seeing their relationship form is the reason why I really like this movie, which it's kind of funny, and I wonder if this is, from what I remember, this is kind of a main theme through all of these movies, is that yes, Scott Calvin is Santa Claus, but in a lot of these movies, he doesn't spend the whole time as Santa Claus. In the first movie, most of the time in there, he's probably Santa Claus for like 10, 15 minutes tops. In this one, he's probably Santa Claus for maybe 15, 20 minutes tops. And then in the third one, I'd imagine he's probably in there for like 30 to 40 minutes tops. Basically, the universe just doesn't want him to be Santa, I guess. But yeah, overall, I would give the Santa Claus 2. What did I give the first one? I think I gave it like a 9.5. I think I gave it a solid 9, so I'm going to give this one an 8.5. The only reason I take it down one notch is because of the whole Toy Santa aspect that feels kind of just shoehorned in there, because it's a kid's movie and they got to do something entertaining, because a kid doesn't want to watch, you know, a romantic Christmas movie, which I understand. I totally get. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, maybe they needed that, but at the same time, I don't know. It'd be more enjoyable for me, at least, if that just wasn't in there at all. But I mean, couldn't they make it so the whole aspect of him being desantified, I guess you could say, is the whole like tension of the movie? I feel like that should have been the tension of the movie, rather than trying to have a villain to the movie. I feel like so many movies, especially as the movies go on, feel the need to have a villain. And it's like the first movie didn't necessarily have a villain. I guess you could say Neil and Laura were kind of a little bit of villains. Also, maybe the cops that arrested him at one point, but that's beside the point. I'm rambling on. But yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for the Santa Claus 2. Have you seen the Santa Claus 2? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Have you seen any of the Santa Claus movies? And for the people that haven't seen it, are you going to watch it this holiday season? Why or why not? I'd love to know. Comment down below with that. Really, anything you want to talk about, comment down below. If you have any recommendations for movies or TV shows, can't promise that I'll get to all of them, but I will try to make time for it. And I mean, especially over the next couple of months, I have a lot of stuff planned. So yeah, we'll see what time I have for anything. I was going to watch the Addams Family movies, but I decided with releases at the theaters, I would have no time to watch any of those. So just going to have to watch Wednesday on its own. A lot of things I'm trying to like shift around and figure out, but if you have any recommendations, I will try to get to them. And I'm trying to start a Patreon soon, so recommendations like that, maybe I'll have like full-length movie reactions and stuff like that over there. I don't know. I'm planning on doing reactions on Patreon for sure. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you all for watching. I should be back tomorrow with my review for the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. And then the day after that should be my review for the first 2 episodes of the Santa Clauses, which, if you're watching this video the day it comes out, should come out tomorrow. But then I'll just take a day to actually watch it and review it and all that. So yeah, thank you all for watching once again. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you in the next one.